The Soldier Analysis by Anya Benja. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England there shall be. In that rich earth a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam, a body of England's breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by the sons of home. And think this heart all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less. Give somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter learnt of friends and gentleness, in hearts at peace under an English heaven. In this analysis, I will be analysing the poem The Soldier by Rupert Brooke. I will analyse the structure, language devices, how the title affects the reader before reading this poem. This poem consists of the first verse, an octave, with 8 lines and 10 syllables per line. And the second verse is a sestet, which is the second division of an octave verse, except the sestet is the second verse with only 6 lines. The title, The Soldier, represents a single soldier who is perhaps the subject of the poem. It is clear in line 1 that the title is referring to a soldier's wishes for how he should be remembered if he dies in a battle. What is interesting is that the poet did not name this soldier, and did so because he wanted this soldier to represent the many other British soldiers, or even soldiers in general. In this poem, the Pacific soldier is explaining about his wishes to be remembered by to his loved ones. He also gives away how he would like to be buried in his mother country, England, with the English air that he knows, buried in the British soil and washed by the English rivers. He wants his body to be buried in the country he was fighting for and all the sights and sounds he knows. He also says, in hearts at peace under an English heaven, which is representing he will be at peace under the English sky and heaven. In this poem, the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, E, F, G. In this poem, the poet used different types of language devices to represent different feelings towards different lines. In stanza 1, line 2 and 3, Rupert uses alliteration on foreign, field and for, as he uses the same first letter. A few words later, in the line 3, the poet uses England, which is later repeated in line 5 and twice in line 6. The next line, which is line 4, is when Brooke uses a metaphor. In that rich earth a richer dust concealed. In that metaphor, Brooke uses dust, which is another repetition as it is repeated in the following line. In line 5, Brooke uses personification until the end of the stanza, using the words England bore, shaped, made aware, gave, her flowers, her ways to roam, body, breathing, washed and blessed. These words are known as personification because of the way the poet used them, which is given an animal, objects or ideas, human qualities. In stanza 2, line 4, Brooke uses sibilants with the 2 words sights and sounds, as they both start with the pronunciation of S. As the writer started off the poem, he said, "If I should die." This affects the readers and affects the poem, saying, "If I do die," instead of talking about his death. It shows what soldiers in general think about if they pass away and leave their loved ones behind. This poem is not talking about the soldier's death, but the soldier's future if he does not survive in war. This poem has much more than just a literal meaning. When you look deeply into this poem, it becomes much more. The message that comes across is the soldier explaining if he should die, what he wants to be remembered by, and he would like to be buried in his mother country, the country he's fighting for. Throughout this poem, the author consisted on remembering the soldier's home country using personification. The first line of the stanza is if I should die, think only this of me. This affects the reader's opinion and helps explain the meaning of this poem and how to relate to the rest of the poem, this poem in the right perception. The lesson to be taught for this poem is showing how a soldier wants to be remembered, and if he passes away in the war, and if he was to be buried in a foreign field, which he would have been, he wouldn't have been put to rest where he wanted to, back home in his home country, with his surroundings around him. The message the author conveys to the reader is always stick by your home country before another, and remember how important your home country is. Overall, the title, The Soldier, gives the reader a good idea on what this poem is going to be about, which is something to do with war. After reading the first line, you will soon understand what the poem is going to be about and what kind of message the author wants to create to the readers.